Welcome, beautiful Play Black Wall Street community. Thank y'all for joining us and thank you for supporting the masterpiece edition of Black Wall Street, the board game. Today, we have an amazing artist who has been commissioned to add her amazing vision perspective to the board game itself. But before we get officially into it, if you can please introduce yourself inside of the chat, or if you're rewatching this on the replay, go ahead and introduce yourself in the comments, put your name, the city that you are representing, and then your form of expression, right? So we're talking a lot today about art, about painting, about drawing, but if you're a rap artist, spoken word artist, you do fashion, dance, whatever your form of expression is, go ahead and represent yourself inside of the chat. So we have today Melinda Ruth, born in Dallas, Texas, but currently living in Houston, and she is about to bless the city of Detroit not too shortly from now. She loves being able to see and reflect upon the experiences and African-American culture. So without further ado, I want to welcome Melinda Ruth to the stage. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for setting this all up. I'm so happy I was able to be a part of this project because I think it's a really big deal. So this is such an honor and exciting opportunity.
Oh, of course, I appreciate you. Thank you for responding. We saw your work and we love the texture of it and just the reality of it as well. So let's go ahead and dive semi right in. Can you talk about your journey as an artist? Like, how did you kind of maybe stumble upon or dive into drawing as your personal form of expression?
Yeah. So I've enjoyed art. I love drawing since I was a kid. I took courses when I was in middle school and high school for art, but I think there are several art, especially artists of color, to where it's not a reality to really pursue it as a career. So it was like a hobby of mine that I enjoy, but I was like, I could never do this full time because I have to be able to take care of myself, make money. So
Right.
it was always something kind of in the background that I love, but I didn't pursue. When I was in college, during undergrad, I did minor in studio art, and I've always kind of been drawn toward drawing, and because it was just like a medium that I could control the easiest, and I feel like I can do a lot of things with it. Because painting, I really wasn't a strong painter, and I tried sculpting and ceramics, and neither one of those. I enjoyed ceramics, but it's very hard. Clay is hard for me. But drawing was always I enjoyed it. I could do it for hours upon hours, but it also was considered a lower, in the hierarchy of art mediums, drawing is the lowest one. So I haven't really.
Why is that?
What do you say?
I said, why is that? I didn't know that. Why is that?
Kind of it's viewed as I would say the hard, the big, most of famous artists you see, they're going to be painters or maybe sculptors. Or when I say sculptor, I mean you work with metal, wood, ceramics, wood, things like that, or clay. But drawing is a foundation really to all of them, but you don't really stay there. You kind of go on from there and do you need to draw to do the next step, but you don't stay at drawing. And so, but I enjoyed it, and that was the medium that I really wanted to stick with. So I took drawing courses in undergrad, and then after that, I would just do it for fun every now and then. And then maybe a couple of years ago, I think in 2017, I really was wanting to kind of get drawn back to art, wanting to see what could happen from it. But I didn't really know the industry because I stopped after I studied studio art. And I didn't really see a place where drawing fit in. You don't see gallery shows full of drawings,
Yeah,
or you're not, it's usually paintings that you're seeing or something that's kind of has a bigger wow factor. So I started kind of thinking about it, and I started kind of getting back into practice, building my skills. And then at the end of 2019, I did my 2020, this is what I'm gonna do. I was I'm pursuing an art career in 2020. And then the pandemic hit, and it was this made me not be the best year for me to pursue this. But it was great because despite everything that was going on in the world, just being in just completely topsy-turvy or whatever, there were so many opportunities for art that opened up, and people, like, I feel like everybody's mindset changed. So what was no longer the standard, you know, like things were more fluid and more opportunities were opening up, and we were just kind of being expanded. So in the end of 2019, I kind of started getting back to it. 2020, I did my first art show. And then from there, I started like submitting pieces to like these different, and I didn't know, I was like, I was still in really green. I was just trying, like, as I learned as I went. So I was submitting these pieces to these different shows, like exhibitions, and I was getting like rejection after rejection after rejection. And so I went to this critique with this artist. And one thing that I enjoy is, even though I'm not a strong painter, I can do like simple like patterns with my painting. And I feel like color on top of what usually I do a mixed media pieces. And the color, I use it to make it pop something that I'm trying to like draw the viewer's attention to.
Right.
And so I did this critique with this artist, and he like does billboards up in New York, not billboards, like these huge wall murals up in New York. And he did one for Power when they were like one of their seasons recently or something like that. But anyways, he does that. He's a big time guy, and I was able to get a critique with them. And he was like, "What you're doing, I haven't seen before, and there's a place for it because you're combining these two. And even though you're drawing, like you're like kind of doing something different with it." And so like, he was just kind of giving me techniques. I really work with the human form a lot, and just like how to improve like with human proportions and stuff. So I am like, I'm far from being a vet. I'm like new to this, and so I enjoy it. I love it, and it's kind of like a long journey to where I'm at right now, with huge breaks in between. But that's kind of what led me to where I'm at right now as an artist.
Love the context, love the background, because you never know who may be watching this, who may be trying to start their own art career. So I love that you were able to pretty recently, despite a pandemic, still able to launch your career, grow it, and you know, hopefully it's up and up from here, Miss Melinda.
Yes. Yeah. I would, but on that note, I would definitely, like, anybody, if you have like that dream, one is being teachable, because you can have talent, but talent, it doesn't stop at talent. Like, you have to grow that talent. And like where I was in the beginning of 2020 to where I am now is very different. I shouldn't say very different. I'm stronger. I'm a stronger artist now than I was then. But the talent is what gets you in the door. To be great, you got to build on it. So like finding critiques, not letting reject, because you're going to get rejected. This industry is like, you're going to see more rejection than acceptance. And you have to like learn from it and keep going, and just like keep the dream keep the dream before you, and just kind of run after that.
Love it. So before we dive into the specific commission piece for the masterpiece edition of Black Wall Street, the board game, can you please go ahead and give folks where can they find you on Instagram, your website, possibly if they like your art and they want to get more art? Can you please go ahead and shout out your contact information?
Yes, absolutely. So I do photography as well, but I think right now I'm mainly focusing on is my drawing, like these pieces, or doing like that. What is it, like pieces mainly? So the best way to get a hold of me right now is through Instagram, and it's my handle is this_is_Melinda Ruth, and like it has my contact information on there. I am working on building a website. I try to do it on my own, and that's not my strength. So it was really, really like elementary. And I was like, I can't go out like this. Like, I got to get some help with this. So I'm trying to build my website now. But Instagram for now is the best way to get a hold of me. And I've been like commissioned for other stuff through there, like DM me. My number's on there as well, and my email address. And if you wanted to see like the link on there for the website is actually to my photography portfolio. So either drawing or photography, like you can get a hold of me for now that way. And then I'll like post my website once I get like a professional to build it for me.
Yes, ma'am. But I love that you know your lane. You're like, you know what, website building might not be my lane, but drawing art is. So right now on the screen, you should be able to see the Breaking Ground piece by Melinda Ruth, an original. Love it so much. So can you first talk about what was the inspiration for this piece?
Yeah. So back in, what was it? I think May, or was it when George Floyd was murdered? I think, was it, I can't remember the exact month, but in Houston, there was a protest in one of the summer months. I can't remember. And I was, one thing I was telling some of my friends is like, we have to capture this moment because we don't want anybody else telling our story. And when I was, so I took my camera to the protest, and something that I noticed was here in Houston, we're just a very diverse city. And so there's people from all different like ethnic, racial backgrounds. And to see people with the right signs that are like, Mexicans stand with Black Lives Matter, or Asians stand for Black lives, or, you know, or I'm sorry, Indigenous people stand for Black lives. It's just, I saw all these different signs of people of other cultures saying that this needs to stop. Like, we're standing with you guys, and we're fighting this battle with you. But as much as that was encouraging, I was like, it's still like, we as a people have to continue like to be cohesive, come together and push through. Like, the ground is breaking, but we have to be the ones to really keep pushing and making sure that this horrible foundation that's been set in this country, that's been built on our backs, and has continued to keep us at this lower level state. We have to be the ones to keep pushing and breaking through. So in this piece, I originally was wanting to make this and draw this, this just the figure of the man breaking the ground over like kind of these faded photos that I got from the protest. But when I was commissioned for this, I was like, I could create the whole scene, you know, from it. And with this one, I originally just had where the guy was breaking the ground. And then I think, well, you or when your staff was like, well, there's too much white space. And I wanted to have this sense of community for he's doing it for, and the community that's encouraging him to go forward. And so then when I had to like kind of build on the piece, having the people watching from the back was like the community that you're doing it for. But having like the people from the past, like in the clouds, the ancestors, I kind of got this idea from like the Lion King when when Mufasa came back in the cloud to talk to Simba. But like having like those that have come before us standing as well with you. Like, he's not, although he is alone, he appears to be alone in this motion. He has all these people that he's doing it for, as well as people that are encouraging him in the moment, like right by his side. So he really isn't alone. And I really wanted to have this as it's not like I didn't want this to come off as being I didn't want any negative kind of reactions to it, but I felt like it was important for me to have it be a Black man that's breaking the ground, because I feel like there's so much against Black men as well as Black women. But I kind of forget the exact term, but there's like 2 hits against the Black woman, 1 hit against the Black man. And for the man, like, he's Black, and that's what puts you behind. For the woman, it's you're Black and you're a woman, and that's what puts you behind. And so for the Black man, they have a little bit of more opportunity to kind of break through than a Black woman. And it's like, let me encourage my brothers in doing that. Wherever your like place of influence is, wherever you have been placed in this time, take that and like break down this foundation in your own way, have your part to the piece or whatever of us transforming this nation, and I think transforming the world. And it may start here, but he's not alone. Like, the Black man's not alone. And I wanted to have a piece that was uplifting to everybody, not just one, you know, person or one like group. So I hope I capture that in this piece, and that I hope that when people look at it, it kind of draws them in, and they're able to kind of get all the different messages I wanted to put out there.
Love it. That was amazing. You answered probably almost every question we already had lined up in that. But I wanted to circle back to a point that you made, and you said, you know, the original piece had a little bit more white space. It didn't have the people in the background, and you know, our team definitely appreciates your openness to getting that feedback, to working within the medium of a board game and having as little white space as possible. Can you talk just about the kind of the importance of being open to feedback, and then how maybe for you stumbled upon this amazing addition? Because again, personally, I love this version of it. I love
Mhm.
the Lion King aspect, or the ancestors watching from above. I love the people in our present watching from parallel. Like, I think that adds a lot of depth to it. So yeah, can you just talk about the importance of being open to feedback, and then how you just really added this particular pieces to the background?
Yeah, it's extremely important. I think it's part of like one of the foundational pieces as an artist, that you have to be teachable, you have to be open to feedback. And when I was studying studio art, that's we every like assignment we went through critiques, because when I see a piece and I make a piece and I say, okay, I'm finished at this point, I fulfill kind of what I thought maybe would be best. But really, you as an artist, you're working, it's kind of a, I guess, more relationship, because you're working with the potential viewer as well as you, like, and the viewer is working with you. And so you're wanting to give the viewer something that's compelling and draws them in, but you also want to, you want to give them something they want to see, but you also want to get your message out to them. And
Mm.
so during the like critiques, you kind of see, you get the feedback of, this is what I was trying to do, but this is the reaction that I got. And so I may have had this amazing idea, and it's like, you can do a little bit more with that, or this kind of takes away from that, or if you do whatever, you know. And so with this one, what I was thinking was like, this could be like overlaid, or maybe it could be like just this figure, and it's gonna be like a collage kind of thing going on. I wasn't quite sure what it was gonna look like. So I like toned it down, trying to meet like that standard that I was thinking it could be. So when I got the feedback back, it's nothing to be like offended by, or it doesn't take away from any of my artistic ability or like my vision of the piece. It's just, you're just telling me, how do I fit my vision into what it's going to be. And I think, so now that I've done a couple of commissioned pieces, that's kind of what you have to do. Like, you're working with this back and forth conversation that you're having with the person that has commissioned you, so that you make sure that you give them a product that they want. Because you can make this fire piece, and the person that bought it doesn't like it, and nobody's ever going to see it, because they may be nice, like, oh, okay, thank you, here's your money, but it's in the attic somewhere and it's never going to be shown. So that's the piece of, like, when I create, as artists, and when we create, we don't create it for the wall to look at it. We create it because we want people to see it. Right. But if the person that purchased it doesn't want it or doesn't really like it, then we kind of missed that part of like the project, because again, like, there's no point if it's never going to be shown, if it's just going to sit over someplace. You want a piece that the recipient is proud of and excited about it. It's a statement piece, or, you know, like a conversation starter or whatever. So feedback is huge, and it doesn't take away, it just really adds on. And then it kind of gets you to think in ways that maybe you didn't necessarily think before when you were originally creating the piece.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was great. And I think RT was always nervous about giving feedback to artists in general, just because, you know, even as board game designers, you know, we're sensitive about getting feedback for certain things. And as artists, as drawers, painters, I can only imagine how sensitive folks are. So we do definitely appreciate you working with us and being open to that feedback. Now, one more thing, you did mention that you've been commissioned elsewhere. We love it. Congratulations. Hopefully more commissions coming your way, 2021.
I take it all. I receive it all.
Can you give us maybe a few examples or other places that your work has been commissioned, where people can find your work elsewhere?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, like, I'm at the beginning, so it's like I'm still like developing. It's not a whole lot out there right now, but I've had like individuals that have commissioned me. So I think I've done like three or four pieces I was commissioned on. One was a self-portrait of a man that he wanted me to create. And that's actually an example of getting feedback, because we talked about it. I did a shoot with them to get the picture that he wanted. He picked the picture. I was like, "Are you sure this is what you want?" Because the picture honestly was a little, his facial expression was a little odd.
Yes.
And like, when I saw the end piece, I was like, if this is what you want. So I create the piece, I do the whole shebang, and I take it to him, and he does not like it. And so I was like, and he's being nice. That's what I say. You can be nice, but it's like, I was like, man, this piece is never going to come out. Nobody's ever going to see this because you don't like it. And so I was like, well, let's redo it. And so he was like, no, it's okay. I was like, no, I want you to be happy. As a business owner, which me as like my art business, I don't want to just, I want the customer to be satisfied with what they have. So if I do something and it's like, I want to give a guarantee. Like if I create a piece that you're not really liking, let's work and see how I can get it to where you do like it. And it wasn't like an extra charge or anything like that with him. So I redid it. He picked the new picture, the one that actually I originally suggested he pick, but it's okay. But he picked the new piece and he liked it. And so it ended really well. And I could tell when he got the new piece, he was really happy with the new piece that he got. But anyway, so I had a couple of those, and then I was invited to a gallery exhibition up in Chicago at Gallery 19. And that story is a little bit crazy because it was 3 artists. I was one of 3 that were picked for this group exhibition, and like none of our art made it. And so there's like the show they had to do another show, and then they're going to do our show afterwards. And so, but the winner of this, it was a competition, so the winner gets a solo show. So I'm hoping that I get picked for that solo show, because that would be amazing to have a solo show up in Chicago. Oh, yeah. But so that's that. And then actually this one, I'm kind of like limited on what I can say about it, but a short film reached out to me recently to create the work for the film, because it's about the lead character happens to be a sketch artist. So we're just kind of negotiating that. I know, I've never seen that before. Oh, actually, there's a film on Netflix actually that about an artist, but that's not a common opportunity for like a visual artist. So I feel very blessed for them to have happened upon my art through from Instagram or whatever. And so those are kind of the things I'm working on right now. I just recently graduated, so school took up a lot of my time. Now that I'm done with that, I can go back into focusing on art and getting out there. So but that film is going to be like a big project I have going on. And if I end up getting the solo show, that'll be probably my next big project, or just whatever else comes around as I go. So
love it. So in case you're just joining us, we have Melinda Ruth in here with us, the original artist behind Breaking Ground. As you just heard, a lot of more amazing blessings coming her way. If you want to follow her journey, you can follow her on Instagram at this_is_Melinda Ruth, and website pending. She got you. It's going to be an amazing website for sure. So slightly random question based on what you were just saying.
Okay.
Portraits versus creating art from just the African-American perspective and kind of creating from scratch your own vision. Is there a preference for you as an artist?
No, for me, I don't have a preference, but it's because I work with the human form a lot. So whether it is a portrait or use anything I create, there's going to be people are going to be in there. And a lot of times, one thing that I learned is we have to I use photography or just random items so that I can get the angles on the piece that I'm creating. And so I may take I myself am posing on all these different poses to get the pose I need to draw on the piece, or I'll take and create little paper or foil people to get the pose that I need, So it is still with the portrait, it's a different kind of ease. Well, it's a different setting because the person that you're actually drawing, they're there. But when you're making a piece, you're getting the figure, and then you're adding on to that to create whatever message you're trying to get out there. So they're different. They're both, I like the challenge of either side, and they're both fun to me to create. I've done more with this film gig. I will be doing a couple of portraits in that one. But then I also get the opportunity to kind of create off of a concept. And I do like doing here's the abstract idea. How do I now put it into a visual? And just, that's exciting. And then I use like the color to help me tell those different, or put out the different messages. But I with portrait drawing, the challenge with that one is capturing the person's essence in the piece. And so you like, you'll understand human proportions, but then also able to see like the small little details in a person that separates them from the next person is that's a fun task to kind of tease out as well.
Gotcha. Like the little moles, scars,
Yeah.
little shadows.
That make them look how they look.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nice. All right. So last question for you. I definitely appreciate your answers and your willingness to share everything that's going on. Hopefully folks are able to learn from it. Again, feel free to put questions in the comments below where you're watching this video. We'll be able to come back and maybe answer some of those questions. So last question, this art piece is, a part of Black Wall Street, the board game, which is paying homage and connecting to the legacy of Tulsa's Black Wall Street. Can you talk a little bit about how this piece in particular either connects to the history of Tulsa's Black Wall Street or possibly the future of Tulsa's Black Wall Street?
Yeah. And until like I started following like your platform, like I really hadn't, I don't think I had heard of Black Wall Street, but I didn't know all the details about the story. So when I was commissioned for this piece, I had to go back and really read up on what happened. And it kind of hit different because we're coming off of like our nation realizing the reality of like the threat against Black lives. And then like reading and remembering this story of completely self-sufficient Black people thriving and how they did nothing and they were like destroyed, for there was no reason outside of simply you're Black, we don't want you to be great. So when I was doing this piece, or creating this piece, I wanted to kind of speak to where we're going from where we came from. And like we are going to have another get to a Black Wall Street, but it's going to be on a much larger scale because our access and opportunities are so much bigger than they were then because of like social media and also like the internet and everything like that. So like, what kind of was, I guess, built on, because when they lay concrete, they have to kind of flatten out the ground or the dirt up under, and then you're laying concrete over. But concrete is semi-permanent because you can always break it up and start over or put something else there. And so with this one, I feel like because we don't learn about Black Wall Street or the Tulsa Massacre in school. You got to find that, and then like the history that is on it is like a little snippet, of what truly happened. Like we don't get to hear the true ins and out of how like prosperous our people were, in Tulsa. So, but with this one, I wanted to show like what appeared to be permanent is not. Like there's something under it, and I like as this ground is kind of, it pans out. It's like, it looks smooth and like as if it was, that's the original ground that was there. But when you come towards the end, you see that no, actually you can break it, you can remove it. You can take off what was laid over to cover up. And so that, I feel like it is what we're all doing right now. We're very conscious as a people. We're becoming more and more cohesive, I believe. And we are breaking this ground and so that we can rebuild and also expose what was. And like the narrative of like the lazy Black person, the no, there's no opportunities, there's not enough resources, like all of those lies, we're busting it up. Like they cannot continue to cover up the greatness that's within our people, and that's coming out of our people right now. So this is like from the past, how we're moving toward the future.
Love it. So one more time, Melinda Ruth in here. You can check her out again on Instagram at this_is_Melinda, Ruth. We appreciate y'all's support. If you haven't already purchased the Masterpiece Edition of Black Wall Street, the board game, make sure you head to playblackwallstreet.com and get your limited edition board game featuring the amazing work of this lovely lady right here. Before we let folks go, any last parting words, advice, or anything else you want to say to your potential audience out there?
Yeah, I would say definitely purchase the Black Wall Street board game, but also follow your platform, because I really feel like you're giving out some nuggets that we need through, I forget the name of it, but it's like these little like like Black history.
Black
Yeah.
snacks.
There we go. No, they're good, and we need more, because and I was like the analysis piece that you put behind it too. So I would say definitely follow your platforms, but then also for just us as a people, we're in a very encouraging time, because things that have the curtains that have been covering up so much have been drawn back, and now like we're moving to spaces to where we have more freedom. And it's just like, find your niche and like thrive in it, wherever that is. Like, it doesn't have to be art. Just if it's business, if it's parenting, if it's relationship, like whatever, just find it and your part, thrive in what you've been given and the platforms that you've been given and the influences that you've been given, because like our people have always been great. But now like we're just getting more opportunities to like get that greatness out to the world and debunk all the lies that have been told about us and the images that have been put out about us. So it's a good time. It's always a good time to be Black, honestly.
Nice.
It's a great time for us, and we as a people, we're thriving, and prosperity is like definitely in our future. So just keep going.
Love that final word. Thank you, Melinda Ruth. Has been a pleasure. And again, hoping more commissions, more blessings, more opportunities come your way this year and forever on.
Thank you. Thank you so much.